Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Just MD. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we are getting into an episode of Scrubs. We're watching My Old Lady, Season 1, Episode 4. Let's jump right in.
Here's something that's kind of surprising. On my first day, my resident told me, if you don't count the maternity ward, which is mostly, well, or the emergency room, which is mostly broken bones, stitches, that sort of thing. He said that 1 out of every 3 patients that's admitted to this place will die here.
I can't. I have to call someone.
Hi, I'm gonna be your doctor.
That statistic, 1 out of every 3 people admitted to the hospital will die in the hospital. I just don't know if that statistic is totally accurate. Spoiler alert, it's actually not true. A study published in JAMA in 2017 that came out of Harvard University found that the overall mortality rate was somewhere between 8.3 and 9.5%, depending on whether it was a teaching hospital or not. Although I will say that if someone is requiring admission to the hospital, that already means that their condition is bad enough that they warrant being hospitalized. So outside of the maternity ward and yes, the emergency room where most people are seen and then discharged, yeah, when you're actually admitted into the hospital, it's because something's wrong and it's dangerous enough that you need to be monitored in the hospital and not at home. So honestly, it kind of makes sense.
I'm the doctor. I'm the doctor.
What are you, 16?
Oh, this is unacceptable.
What, do you have like coupons to this
We
hospital?
should have gone to my. Now that's enough.
I totally got this as a resident, and honestly, I still get this. People are like,
how old are you?
even if you're young, a young doctor, you've gone through the training, you've passed the tests. I get it. People are like, are you old enough to practice medicine? But you're like, yeah, I sure am.
Now, sure, he's young, but he's probably a very good doctor. Are you a good doctor?
See?
Kind of too soon to tell.
Honesty. Well, I like that. You probably want these people to wait outside.
That'd be nice.
Make them know you're a man, not a boy.
Would you guys mind?
I'm fine where I am, thank you.
Make me.
Everybody out of here now!
To wake up the dead.
Dramatic effect, of course. But yeah, you have to be serious. When you need to speak to the patient alone, you have to be able to say, I need everyone to please leave because I need to speak to this person one-on-one. There are a million different reasons why that might be the case, but in particular, if someone is worried about abuse or some kind of traumatic event, you need to be able to talk to the person one-on-one to be able to find out as much as you can without them feeling compelled to hide things because someone else is listening.
I say this is a simple laparoscopic hernia repair, sir.
Oh, see, this is embarrassing. You guys are wearing the same outfit. Don't sweat it, I'm not wearing pants.
Oh, come on, that was funny.
Great, moving on.
Where are you guys going? ESPN Classic show on the 82 NFC Championship. It's the catch. We can have some nurses over?
That was, again, over dramatized. Surgeons still definitely talk to their patients. This patient sounds like someone that I would really want to interact with more. He sounds like a lot of fun.
I called down and requested a Spanish-speaking nurse. So, no English, huh? I'm a chunky monkey from Funky Town.
I'm gonna have a little trouble translating that.
Oh, good. It's you.
Okay, even if that patient doesn't speak English, why?
Surgeons generally don't like to get too close to patients. Maybe it makes it harder to cut someone open. Maybe it's just too risky. I don't know. I feel like you're missing out. Like this Miss Tanner, she's got this incredible energy and warmth.
Dude, the League of Women Voters called, and they want to know where to send your membership info.
You're using that somebody called joke a lot.
I know, I can't help it. I got a hernia patient to take care of.
What's his name?
Well, his name is hernia patient, but we've gotten close, so I like to call him hernia.
He must feel so safe and taken care of.
The accuracy, though. People tend to feel a lot safer and cared for when, I don't know, you actually know their name. I understand what JD is saying here, like,
Oh, it makes it harder to cut someone open and surgery is risky and all.
but at the same time, Turk should definitely know his patient's name. I'm sure he does.
What now, Dr. Barbie?
Mrs. Guerrero is a 40-year-old lupus patient who presented with shortness of breath, so I started her on a heparin drip and ordered a VQ scan. Just wanted to run that by you.
1, 2, 3.
So should I continue
It's
with the heparin?
really important that you let me get to 10.
Well, I just thought...
Listen, Cookie. You've been here over a month. This is medicine 101. I don't want every little thing run by me. I don't want to give you my 2 cents worth, but if you ever do want to know my opinion, rest assured it will always be that you're an incredible pain and that every time I see your Cupid doll face, it just makes me want to pick you up and shake you until all the hours of my life that you've wasted fall out.
In true Cox fashion. But I will say, if she's an intern and has only been there for a month, yes, she should be running everything either by her attending, Dr. Cox, or the resident that she's working with. But by no means should she be running the show by herself as an intern in her first month.
Oh, but you know what you should do first, kiddo?
What's that?
Find her.
The hospital isn't jail. She has every right to leave if she wants to. Now, granted, if she's leaving against medical advice, she definitely has to sign out and make it very clear that she understands what the recommendations are and that she is choosing not to follow those recommendations. That's totally okay. Patient autonomy is a very important thing in medicine. With that being said, if she's not in her bed, she could just be in the cafeteria or something. It doesn't necessarily mean that she's run away. Kelso mentioned something about her having to go on dialysis. A lot of people, when they're CKD stage 5, needing dialysis or end-stage renal disease, it's hard to actually make that decision of, okay, fine, I'm gonna do it now. People try and hold off as long as they can. And so that might be where her head is at right now. She might not even want it and might just be okay with whatever will happen if she doesn't go on dialysis. Lots of nuances here, and it's not all black and white.
Hey, come on, man. It's the fourth quarter. You got a minute?
Sure.
Cool.
David, right?
Yeah.
I'm Turk.
What's up? You want some IV?
No, I'm good.
You sure?
Turk knows his name. That's sweet.
Mrs. Tanner.
Here's the party.
Look, I don't know how it's been with your other doctors, but when you're under my care, you stay in the hospital until I say it's okay for you to leave.
We saved your plate.
I don't care about food right now. Oh my God, are those s'mores?
Look, it's Samantha's 5th birthday. Now you're not going to make me miss this, are you?
Okay, if she's wanting to go out like that for a birthday party, she really should be signing out AMA and then returning to the hospital. The problem is she'll then probably have to go through the ER again. It's not going to be a direct admission. So this is just like kind of all wrong. But she wanted to go to what looks like her granddaughter's birthday, and I understand that too on a human level.
Your kidneys aren't responding to the medication anymore. I'm afraid we're gonna have to start you on dialysis.
I'm not a big fan of dialysis.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we don't really have a choice.
Well, actually, I do have a choice.
Certain things you never expect to come out of a person's mouth.
I think I'm ready to die.
I think that is a shocking thing to hear one of the first times you hear it. But after a while, you start to see when people are not living their best life, when they don't have a great quality of life, they may be ready to go because this life just isn't worth it for them anymore. And I'm not talking about young, healthy people. I'm talking about people that are in medical situations that don't really honestly have a great outcome. Dialysis isn't ideal. It's somewhere where you go 3 times a week, where you sit there for half your day. So when people have a poor quality of life because of a medical condition that's either irreversible or not getting better despite all of our efforts, and they just don't want to fight it anymore, cancer is another thing that comes to mind. I don't think it's wrong to say, okay, I'm done trying all of this. Like, just let me live the rest of my life peacefully. I don't want to be in and out of hospitals. It makes sense. The first time you hear it as an intern or even as a med student, it's a lot because you're grappling with, okay, this is life or death for this person.
Sweetie, I'm 74 years old. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, but with dialysis, you could live another 80 or 90 years.
I think you're being a little irrational.
No, I'm not.
Everybody dies sometime.
No, they don't.
She's absolutely right. She feels like she's lived a good life and she does not want to fight this anymore. And that's okay. That's absolutely okay.
Dave's a good kid.
Well, sounds terrific. You two becoming best pals, huh?
I just think he's a good kid, and I really thought he needed a friend.
Young man, your patients don't need friends, they need a doctor.
I disagree. You can have great rapport with the patient, have wonderful doctor-patient relationship. You can get along really well and truly, genuinely care about your patients. I don't think that's wrong. At the end of the day, yes, their health and the medical decisions that you make need to be appropriate. But developing great rapport is actually, I think, a very good thing. Patients are a lot more willing to share things with you when they feel like they can trust you. Doesn't that just make sense?
Her BP's dropping. Maybe it's time to push thrombolytics. If you were her doctor, what would you do?
That's way out of my league, Elliot.
I don't know about waiting. I mean, she seems to be decompensating, but thrombolytics scare me. I mean, a lot of times the patient bleeds out.
She needs to know what's going on.
I'll be right back.
This patient is decompensating. It sounds like she has a pulmonary embolus and she needs immediate intervention. Dr. Cox at this point should be driving the ship. This is not something that you leave on an intern and let them just guess what to do. What is happening?
So she doesn't want dialysis?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Well, if she declines dialysis, then there is no ethical dilemma.
But what about our duty as doctors to do everything in our power to help her?
What about our duty as doctors? Look, this has nothing to do with the patient. It's all about you. You are afraid of death, and you can't be. You're in medicine. You got to accept the fact that everything we do here, everything, is a stall. We're just trying to keep the game going. That's it.
Cox is right. This is so true. And I think that when you're young in medicine, when you're a med student, when you're an intern or resident, it is hard to accept that everything we do in medicine essentially is a stall. Everything we do in medicine, we are doing to give people the best quality of life, the best possible outcome that we can. But at the end of the day, there is no fountain of youth. There is no immortality. Everyone at some point will die. And it is something that you have to come to terms with in medicine, because when you go into medicine, you're like, I just want to save the world. I want to save everything. I want to make everything great. And honestly, for some people, at some point, death is the best outcome for them. When you're dealing with a chronic disease and it is painful, uncomfortable, it's making your life miserable, and you just are done with treatment, that's okay. It's about having the best quality of life in those chronic diseases and not necessarily just the longest life.
I talked to my dad today. He's coming out.
Cool.
And that nurse came by to shave me again.
Hey, I didn't tell her to do that.
You didn't?
No. I think she's got a crush on you.
Come on, dude. What's going on?
Okay. Here's the deal.
If this patient is a minor, then yes, it should be going through the parent. However, he's been at the hospital alone this whole time, and the dad seems to be traveling or something. So I'm gonna assume he's probably over 18. And yeah, Turk should definitely be sharing his medical information with him specifically.
Look, they don't need that burden. Besides, it just gave me a bunch of reasons to change my mind.
Speaking of which, I took the liberty of jotting down a few things I think everybody should do at least once in their life. Okay, number 1, eat a sausage and pepper hoagie from Enrico's.
Well, of course I've done that.
Number 2, go to Asia.
Gonan kan grai Kyoto ni sonde imashita.
I want to take that as a yes, and I'll also check off learn a foreign language.
If she feels ready, she feels ready. And it sounds like she's already done so much in her life. Let her have the autonomy, let her have the control. Sometimes death comes super unexpectedly. If it's expected, if she knows, and if she can prepare for it and prepare her family, that's wonderful.
I've been trying to decide what drink to get. I've been standing here trying to choose between cherry soda and ginger ale. And you know what? It's a toss-up. I mean, either way, I get a cold drink, right? And it would be almost impossible for me to kill someone with this decision, but I still can't make it. I think I'm in trouble here.
Look, I don't think these kinds of decisions are easy for anyone.
It is really important to be decisive in medicine and make informed decisions, make evidence-based decisions. At the end of the day, though, if she's an intern, she needs her attending to make that final call, because she doesn't know enough and has not practiced enough to be able to practice on her own like this. This is just really irresponsible medicine right now. Cox should be here making these decisions with her. Not for her, but with her.
Listen, Dr. Dorian, there is not one thing I regret as I lay here right now. I'm ready. I really am.
You have had an amazing life.
Good. Then we agree. Now, aren't there other patients you need to be seeing?
Me? No, I've been off for 2 hours.
So with your precious free time, you've been sitting in a hospital room talking to an old lady. What about your list? How many of those things have you done? For that matter, how many times have you sat on the grass and done nothing? You need to start taking some time for yourself, young man.
I love that. We spend so much of our lives trying to get into medicine, going through high school, making sure that we get the best grades so we get into the best college, and make the best grades in college so we can get into a medical school, so we can keep going and get into a good residency, and on and on and on. And we spend all this time, and then you finally get there and you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't really done much of anything else. So I think it's awesome that this woman is reminding JD that although he has spent much of his life doing this career path, he can also take some time for himself, go lay out in the grass and just relax. She's just reminding him, and I think that's wonderful.
Are you okay?
I'm scared.
Come here. Come here. Come here. You're okay.
Those kind of patients, those kind of patient encounters, I think are really, really important. Maybe not like all the hugging, but just learning a huge, huge lesson. There are several patients that I had in residency that just, they flash right before my eyes because they taught me very specific lessons. And this is one of those lessons that JD is learning. Death isn't always the worst outcome.
I just wanted you to know that she went very peacefully.
I know you did everything you could for my son. I can tell you how glad I am he had a friend here with him.
Don't second guess yourself. You made the right call. You did.
I know.
When someone comes into the hospital and they're already not doing well, sometimes there's nothing you can do and things will just progress to a really bad outcome. And you just have to be prepared for that mentally. Our goal is for that to not happen, but most of the time they're already there for a not so great reason. Again, with the caveat of, maternity wards, because that's usually a very happy reason to go to the hospital. Okay, this was a serious episode. I really enjoyed it. I remember watching it way back when, and it still hits so hard. I think watching it now through my eyes of having already practiced medicine for a while, it hits differently than it did way back then. This was an awesome episode. Thank you all so much for recommending it. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a like down below, comment, subscribe to the channel. It really helps the girl out. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Just the MD. I really enjoyed spending time with you. I hope you enjoyed spending time with me, and I will see you in the very next one. Bye.